Rev up your engines! All right, a lot of people are thinking about alternative modes of living. Some people are thinking RVs. Well, I'm going to show you something that it's not a myth. They don't make them like they used to. They're having a lot of quality controls with later model RVs. Take this RV. It hasn't even celebrated its second birthday yet. It's less than 2 years old. And here's what the owner has to say about it. He had to seal the roof because it was leaking. This is not even a 2-year-old RV. And this is about a $30,000 trailer. We're not talking about a cheap thing here. As he pointed out, it came with very cheap Chinese-made tires. So the first thing they did was they swapped them out for Goodyears so they don't have the problems of these cheap Chinese tires. Even the Russians found that out. They put a bunch of cheap Chinese tires on the military vehicles when they invaded the Ukraine, and guess what? They got an awful lot of flats that stranded them. It was the end of their convoys from running cheap tires. Well, would you ever want to get a flat tire and one of these things going 70 miles an hour down the road? I don't think so. Okay, look at this horrible caulking job, right? And then the screws are already starting to come out from some of the parts. Body panels, these screws are starting to come out here. I mean, you can just see. They really aren't building these things that well. Now, you can blame some of it on COVID because this was a COVID manufactured one. They couldn't find people to work. They do not pay the people all that much money that do it. That's one of the big problems. Quality isn't there. They're cutting corners, and they're getting guys, they might only work there for a few weeks and then give up, and then somebody else comes in. It doesn't lead towards good manufacturing, to say the least. Now, when it was about a year old, the refrigerator broke. He had to fight with the manufacturer and the builder to finally get another fridge, because here's the thing. The warranty of the fridge was only 1 year, and he had to get it done before the year was up, right? Now, it does have kind of a cool moving section here. That's all automated, so you can get in and out to more space. For the heat, well, it's kind of coming apart too. You can see here in the bathroom, the flooring is starting to come up. You could easily trip on it. Look at that. Look at that. You can see the laminations coming off of it already. Then we get into the shower. Now, this is all bolted and caulked in, but you can see, look at the horrible caulk job to begin with. It didn't even hold it in, and now it's coming apart. You know there's going to be mold inside there, right? I mean, it does have a lot of room. There's no arguing that. We go to the front. Got a nice little master bedroom and everything in it. Electric fireplace, and a nice little sink, and a propane stove. Microwave. It really doesn't look that bad. There's quite a bit of room in it. And it does have a nice awning on it. Here it comes. And it hasn't broken yet. As the owner just said, these lights are all supposed to be white, and you can see some of them burn out. Some of them are orangish, yellowish. That's broken down already. I checked the caulking on that speaker. It's absolutely horrendous. And on a vent here, I mean, it's just sloppiness. Now, the problem here is twofold. There was a shortcoming of them. There weren't enough of them out. They were starting to get popular during the coronavirus, which only makes sense. You couldn't go to hotels, so why not bring your hotel with you? So you got the problem of they can't build them fast enough. There was a dearth of them. There weren't enough out there, so the prices went up. And of course, for the used one, the prices also went up. Well, today, it's coming back pretty much to normalcy. Every time when I travel from Rhode Island to Tennessee and then Tennessee back to Rhode Island, I always check out all the RV places. And let me tell you, they are full to the gunnel with parking lots of RVs that haven't sold. No longer the case, and the price of the used one's coming down too. A lot of this, oh, we don't have enough of them. Well, that's long gone. They got a lot of them, but judging by the quality of this one, I can see why people aren't rushing out to buy them, because you're going to see a lot of this stuff yourself. Let's say you're thinking about buying one. Look around at all the problems he had, caulking and stuff. If it's a crappy job, hey, don't buy the thing. Just say, look, the quality's too bad. I'm not going to buy this thing. Don't rush head first into it. You can do what one of my customers did here last year. He brought me one. I said, what'd you pay for it? He said, I didn't buy it. He said, I'm just renting it. I want to try these things out before I buy. And he came to the same conclusion. He said the quality of the thing was so poor, he'd never want to buy one of these things. And he was glad that he rented it. He said it was the best money he ever spent, because now he's not going to buy one. The rubber seal, well, you know, it's coming apart. It's supposed to be in there. And like you said, it may look like a little thing, but you add all these little things up, big enough, you can see up there, That wasn't such a hot job either. You can see all that starting to come apart, and it's not even 2 years old. So, if you are thinking about one of these, maybe rent one. See what you think about it before you throw a bunch of money out. You might find that if you're going to only use it once or twice a year, what the heck? Rent one. Hey, I don't own any motels, but I rent them all the time, you know? I have no interest in buying a motel, so maybe it's not such a bad idea. Now, we don't want to be all bad news here, so we're going to the truck that pulls this. It's going to be 2 years old in July, and he's real happy with that. He got it for about 50. Well, he could sell it for 15 grand or more than what he paid for it today. He's not planning on it, but that shows you that unlike the RV, that's definitely gone down in value, this thing has actually gone up. The RV is his parents, he just borrowed it. He's got a big car carrier that he hauls with it, and he decided he wanted a 2500 heavy duty with the Hemi 6.4 liter gasoline engine. Now, of course, these things use a lot of gas. And when he's towing this thing, he gets 9 because it's a gasoline engine. So you might wonder, hey, why didn't he buy a diesel? Well, it's not like he's always pulling things. Like my grandson, he's got the Toyota Tundra with the V8. And he's got a big trailer, and he tows stuff around. But he doesn't do it all the time. It's not a 100% tower. Diesels are great for towing all the time, but the extra money you're going to spend, the repairs when they do wear out, a lot of guys don't know how to work on diesels. If you want an all-around truck, you're better off with a gasoline engine than you are with a diesel one. Has he had problems with it yet? Well, not really. The only problem was the tires, and those are made by Firestone. They recalled them, and he had to get free tires. So you can't really complain about that. He'll turn off the cylinder deactivation. He doesn't like that. I don't particularly like it either because he doesn't like the way that it feels. You lose a ton of power, of course, but because as I said over and over until I'm blue in the face, cylinder deactivation is not a good thing for long-term life of the engines. You just have to think about what's happening inside the engine in terms of thermal temperatures. Let's say only half of them are firing. That means you'll have a hot cylinder, then one that's not firing is going to be cool, then the one next to that's going to be hot. It doesn't expand and contract the same. There's a lot of aluminum components. If you know anything about aluminum, it's relatively soft. You could get an aluminum head, put it in an oven in your house, put it on like 350 degrees, and then you can hit it with a hammer and start bending the stuff. It's not made for different temperatures, the heat convection inside, and eventually parts will and do warp. So if you do have an engine with that, and you're the type of guy that wants to get in one and drive it for hundreds of thousands of miles, my advice is deactivate the stupid cylinder deactivation. Deactivate the deactivation, yeah, you know? But I've seen this over the years with these things, but of course, they're all into this, let's all get better gas mileage, and oh, the EPA will be happy. You can't get good gas mileage in a giant truck like this with a big engine. He isn't towing all the time. Yeah, he's getting 9 miles a gallon now, towing this big old rig, but he doesn't tow it all the time. It's his father's anyways, it's not his. So, if you don't need a diesel, you don't have to buy a diesel. You're not towing all the time, but if you are towing, it's still got plenty of horsepower for towing. Let's close the hood. And the warning sirens are coming on because if I'm gonna drive this thing around, you better watch out. And here we go. You can see we're pulling that giant trailer. It's taking off perfectly fine, yeah. I gotta say, I don't even feel like it's pulling anything. We go out into the country. That Hemi engine does sound good, I gotta say. And it's pulling that trailer. I wouldn't even know there's a trailer behind here, to tell you the truth. Maybe a big truck with a big Hemi, but this truck is pretty quiet, considering it's pulling that giant trailer. The truck is fine, no pieces are falling off. It doesn't have any caulking that's sticking all over the place. You can see, it's got no problems climbing up the hill with that big old trailer. Surprisingly enough, it handles quite well with that big trailer on it too. And here we are at a little drag strip, and you can hear that engine humming. And the transmission shifts like a dream. Interestingly enough, he did add air ride on the back because this has coil springs in the back, not leaf springs. And they had a tendency to bottom out. So he put air ride on the coil springs in the back, and it really does ride really well considering we got that big giant RV behind us. It's not bottoming out, it's handling perfectly fine. So if you're thinking about that, you probably really would want to put air ride stuff on it. Because before he put those on, he had this camper on, he said it really squatted, you could feel it driving, but truthfully, you can't even feel it now. Well, the quality of these RV trailers, Ain't what it used to be, but on the other hand, he's really happy with his Ram 2500. You win some, you lose some. He does own the truck, he doesn't own the trailer. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.